Welcome back to the Character Corner. This is Chris and Deepom, your hosts here, where we talk our favorite comic book characters, give a little bit of the background on them, history, talk about some of the important runs and reads and issues to do that. And I'm really, really excited for this one. This might have been why I didn't get any sleep last night. Like seriously, I do these and it's like, oh yeah, this is fun, it's okay. There's only a handful of characters that I'm really like, that's my guy. And today we're doing them. We're doing Wolverine, and like this, I'm a pre-oversaturation Wolverine fan, so like I got the chance to go back and read all the stuff I've read like a million times before already, and it just got me really, really excited. Like I slept last night like it was fucking New Year's Eve. Just super, super excited. So.
It reminds you how good Claremont really is.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Like, I have in our notes, the Claremont era, which is just so much shit.
It's so good.
It's so, and it's stuff that holds up. Like, I get on certain things about not holding up, but like when we get into some of this Claremont stuff, like some of it really, really holds up, and it's really, really great. Before we get any further though, Character Corner. That means we read 5-star reviews if we get them, and we actually have a new 5-star review in Deepom.
Oh, yeah, it's from Home Underground. It came for Tim Drake's Day for Greatness. I've heard other podcasts, but none like this. Great conversations that not only cover the history of the character, but really dive into character development, which is the kind of thing I live for in comics. First heard the Tim Drake podcast, and I haven't been this excited about comics in a long time. It's like I now have 2 more comic book friends, making a grand total of 3. Thanks, you guys. You're welcome, man. That's good. I like that.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, man, we love doing these, and I'm glad that these are some people's favorite podcasts, and I know we really enjoy doing them. Like they are like. They're just, I'm not gonna lie, there's excuses for us to read comics again. Like,
I read a lot of Wolverine this week.
Oh my God. Like, I went back, and we were just talking about this. Like, so at this point, in 2017, Wolverine has become an oversaturated figure in everything. Like, he became Marvel's Batman, and that they put him in every fucking team. They put him in every fucking movie. Like, everything became about Wolverine.
And they made jokes about it. I like it when they've done it enough to where they can joke about it in the books.
Right. And so yeah, it's becoming in comic joke now about it. But before the real super oversaturation, like there was a lot, and I'm not saying that even during the oversaturation period there wasn't good stuff. It's just like Batman. There's some great oversaturation with Batman, but it doesn't make the stuff not good. It just makes it that it's hard to focus on anything. And like there's a lot of similarities to me with reading Wolverine and reading Batman stuff, in that a lot of these Wolverine stories you can read them like just him. Like they'll bring in some other characters here and there from the universe, but you can get like a couple issues of just Manipur Nights, which is Wolverine, dealing with cleaning out some drug dealers. Like you get these little individual stories that matter so much, and it's just a really, really cool character that has a really deep history for him. And yeah, it's like I remember one of the first X-Men comics I ever bought. Well, that my mom allowed me to buy. Like, it was the one I was trying to get. And I think it was Omega Red's first appearance was what, X-Men 5? The second series?
Okay, yeah, it was the Claremont Lee issues.
Yeah. So I got it right, and she took one look at a Wolverine Omega Red fight and was like, no. She was just like, that's way too violent. It's like they're attacking. I was like, yo, but no, they're mute. It's okay because, he's not hurting anybody as like giant like adamantium claws rip through.
Well, we'll talk about that, but that's how we got the Reavers.
Right.
Jim Shooter said that Wolverine shouldn't be able to kill, and people were like, I guess. You should have sliced a lot of people before you got here.
Right. So it's just like, and I guess, we will never forget him to, when we'll get more into this when we do other medium and stuff like that, but the animated cartoon, it's just like that, just his whole attitude of this short, 5'2", 5'3" guy but it's the best there is at what he does. What he does
isn't very nice.
It's just oh my God. It's just a character that you gotta love. And there's a sense of honor in him with this, that's mixed with this feral beast that's inside of him. It's just fucking love it, man. And having to go back and read all this stuff, man, just fucking fantastic. Fucking fantastic.
It was really and I'm not gonna lie, like a lot of the times we do the X ones, I'm like, I'll skim some stuff, but I know this like cold. Like I don't need like we could I don't know, was it we could do a Havoc one tomorrow, and I'm like, I don't need to read it. Right. I got this. I can tell you the issues and everything. It's fine.
Right.
But like for Wolverine, while I knew it all, it was really nice to go back and take the time and like find the pivotal stories and not just like know what happened, but to really reread them. Like some of the stuff with Yuriko and that Claremont era, it's like you said, it holds up really well, and I think it's almost elevated.
Yeah. So we have a little structure for the show. We're going to get with the essentials first, and then we'll kind of get into some of the history there. So obviously the history is made his first cameo appearance with Incredible Hulk 180, appeared in the last page. The big one is Incredible Hulk 181 in 1974, and where it was Wolverine just being Wolverine, of course, and he's tasked by the Canadian intelligence to bring in the Hulk. And the Hulk was fighting Wendigo at the time. And so, of course, this short little runt guy is going to take on both. This was the first major, first appearance comic of an X-Men that I ever wanted. And I couldn't get it, right? Because I'm a little kid, and this is the Bronze Age, and this is one of those Bronze Age first appearances that really holds its value.
Oh, yeah.
So there was almost no way I was going to get this as a kid. But I always wanted it. And once I got, to the place I am now and was successful enough, one of the first things, I think it was the second one I bought. I went out and found on Incredible Hulk 181 because I had to. If I get rid of all my other books, I am keeping this one. I will be the homeless man on the side of the road. Instead of having a dog, I will have this on a leash. All right? That is that important to me. That is my character. Second, the second one I bought?
What?
X-Men Giant Size #1. Which is the second appearance of Wolverine. And when he officially joins the X-Men the following year, 1975. Those are the two books right there I had to have. Forget everything else I have. I got a bunch of other stuff. These are the two. You will have to pry them out of my cold dead hands. That's just what I wanted. It's always when that's the character, and those are his first appearances, and that's what I always wanted from him. It's just, I don't know. It's just, he just represents I don't know. I don't even know what it really was about the character that drove me into him like that. But it's just, I think this is Claremont just describing the essence of Wolverine's character. It's like that of a failed samurai. To a samurai, duty is all selfless service to the path of their ultimate ambition and death with grace. That pretty much sums up Wolverine.
Yeah. Well, it sums up a part of him because that's the thing is there's so many aspects of his character, and as opposed to sometimes you feel like a character's written inconsistently, they were able to see, because he's for such a long time, it's such a clouded backstory, clouded history, you were able to pull out whatever aspects of Wolverine you needed for your story and highlight those while not ignoring the rest of his nature being this feral berserker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But who's also a teacher, who's also a samurai, like you said, who's also an avenger.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy that one, and it's so funny because we say oversaturation, but at no point do we say he's written wrong in X book.
No.
Because you can't, because this character has so many aspects and so many things you can highlight that you'd want to highlight in a story like this, that he's just it's overused but highly versatile, if that's at all, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, he's a character you can put in there. And like I said, again, when we go through the history like this, when you go from where the character was and being this hothead and being this character that didn't like authority and stuff like that, to then you ended up with Wolverine and the X-Men where he's literally the headmaster of the Jean Grey school. And it's me telling you this doesn't make sense, but when you read it, you're like, oh no, this makes actually. When you read the reasons why he does it, it's like this makes absolutely fucking sense. It's so what the character is. It makes sense, and it's just, he's one. There are certain aspects that can be inconsistent, but I think he's one of the more consistently written characters. Maybe power-wise, when we'll get into that, they get a little funky there, but the motivations and the behavior-wise, he's always there. Everybody knows the powers of Wolverine. The biggest thing is just the healing factor, which honestly, it's almost god level at the point. Like
it's yo-yo the effectiveness and speed. Yo-yo so fast.
Yeah,
from what a writer wants to do.
Yeah,
they've been writers are like, oh no, this is the new rules, and then by the next issue, it's like, you're not in this book anymore.
Yeah,
those aren't the rules.
Like, I mean, he's literally there. There's times when it takes him a while to recover from gunshots. And there are other times. There's one where I think the Brian K. Vaughan series, like they show, he literally survived a nuke, the bomb on Nagasaki. Yo, like it's just like there's it fluctuates so much. You just need to know that his healing factor is honestly off the charts. I mean, it makes him resistant to diseases, drugs, toxins. This is why he's always shown drinking, drinking and smoking, because what the fuck doesn't affect him? Obviously, physical changes he can heal from that. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot.
Another aspect of his powers, the claws are part of his powers.
Yeah. So you don't get that until
Fatal Attraction.
Yeah, Fatal Attractions. You don't. And matter of fact, after, because I don't think you get it.
Not immediately. No,
yeah, you get it. You get it right after. You get it right after where he tries to pop his claws. And people are like, "You can't do it. You don't have." Oh wait, you do. What the fuck?
Right.
So yes, he does have claws. There's also this aspect of, I think is one of the things that's really undersold, not in the comic but in every other medium of him. He has heightened senses. He has his heightened senses. He has sight, smell. He's basically a tracker, if you will. He has very animal-like qualities to him that are on top of the Weapon X addition to him. Like when you describe Wolverine, you have his healing factor, and you have this feral nature of him and this berserker nature with the heightened senses of an animal. That's already a fucking problem.
Very much so.
And then some smart people decided that we're going to bring in the unbreakable metal adamantium and graft it to his bones, because why the fuck not, right?
You also realize that to move around with a metal skeleton, you've got to be really strong.
Yes. So, adamant can cut through most solid materials, most metals, wood, various stones. It can't cut through adamantium itself, obviously. I think vibranium it can't. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's vibranium alone or if it's a I think Cap Shield is vibranium. It is vibranium adamantium alloy mix. Again, that's another one of those things that's always kind of it fluctuates sometimes with writers, what he can cut through and how much he can cut through. But and obviously enhanced strength due to his having entire body full of metal. And again, like you said, the healing factor on top of that, like he is literally a living weapon.
Yeah,
literally a living weapon. And I think in the first full volume of Wolverine, this is something that let me see if I can find the actual page. It was, I think it's Wolverine 51, and it was Forge talking about Wolverine, because it's basically, and I like the beginning of this issue. It's basically Wolverine and the Danger Room and the X-Men and Professor Xavier are watching him and tracking his output and what he's doing, and he's basically off the chain. He's off the charts, you know.
Well, yeah, it's one thing because you say like he's a fighting machine, but we're going to cover some history. But he's been trained by the CIA. He's been a soldier. He's been a samurai. Yeah. He's been a member of the X-Men. He's been a ninja. This guy is tactically amazing. He's Captain America tactically. Physically, he's trained as hard and as fast as anyone else. He's a master swordsman, trained with Logan. Like, yeah. Covert ops, the whole 9 yards. He's the mechanic on the friggin' Blackbird.
Right.
Like, he speaks 15 languages. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me. It's like, and again, when we'll get to the other mediums, it's like, this is the aspect of Wolverine that people never see. It's like, this is not just some, you wanted me to go, oh, you're just some dumb brute. It's like, there's so much more to this character that makes him so good. So they're in the issue ends, and they're in the. We've set the Danger Room to attack sequence at maximum threat for the full scale solo combat mode, and we're not even monitoring very much of a heartbeat and respiration increase in Wolverine. He's maxing out the system while coasting in neutral balls. We might as well be throwing daisies at him. Let me see if I can get to what he later on says. Let's see. He's regressed. Look at these brainwave patterns. Extraordinary. He's regressed into an emotional response pattern of a berserker killer ape. But he retains highly sophisticated combat skills and is capable of complex strategic decisions with a compressed time frame. The equivalent of an Olympic gymnast doing a gold medal routine while simultaneously beating 4 chess computers in his head. That's basically what you fight when you're fighting Wolverine. Yeah, he's a fucking problem. You know, there's a series later on, Enemy of the State, where Hydra basically ends up using Wolverine, and she has a problem. Like everybody, like the entire Marvel universe basically goes into lockdown.
Yeah,
because you're like, oh fuck, you know, and even Electric was like, yeah, basically your weapon got into the hands of somebody else. Not a good thing.
A very bad thing, as a matter of fact.
Very, very, very bad thing. So, we kind of mentioned this, team affiliations, which there are a lot of.
Get comfortable. This is
already
part of this.
Look, I'm not going to cover all of them. I'm going to try to get some. This is a good enough list here. We have the X-Men. We have various X-Men teams. You have Alpha Flight. Very different kinds of Avengers teams. Like, you know, Avengers. He's on the Avengers Unity Squad. Assassin's Guild. He was a Horseman of the Apocalypse. The Jean Grey's Academy. He's been in the Fantastic Four. Obviously, S.H.I.E.L.D. There's the Canadian Intelligence. I think the CIA as well.
CIA, yes.
Yeah, the CIA.
S.H.I.E.L.D.
S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah, called S.H.I.E.L.D. Uncanny X-Force.
He's also a member of the Hand.
Yes, member of the Hand. He's a criminal underboss of I think a Japanese criminal underboss somewhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the list goes on. It is.
He's been around for a while.
And that's the other thing we should add in there. Nobody really knows the age of Wolverine, but we know
approximately late 1800s, I think.
Yes,
approximately. Did they put his birth in?
Approximately.
And one more. This is crazy. Like the more we do this, I'm like, this is all nuts. Like, this is nuts.
Yeah.
Like he was in the Canadian Army and served alongside Captain America in World War II.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's a defender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is crazy. It's when you see it written out, you get really like, wait a second.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a headmaster. Yeah.
It's yeah. Wolverine, guys. Wolverine, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the end of the Character Corner. So we have a nice day. No.
You've learned all you're going to learn.
You've learned all you're going to learn. Yeah, so we're bringing up the history here. We're going to try to go in chronological order as much as we can here. We'll stop along the way and give you some of the issues we've read and some of the history here and some of the stuff we go in here. And the first thought to me is just, you know, I say the Claremont era, because there's just some really good stuff here. Even before you get to limited, so the limited series starts in '82. Before you even get there, you know, you at this point you've had his first appearance in Incredible Hulk. You've had him join the X-Men.
I love the period where he joins the X-Men pre-Claremont because there's such great tension there that kind of Claremont exploits for better stories, but you get the seeds of the Cyclops Wolverine thing there. Mm-hmm. You get the Warren Wolverine thing, which was played upon later in history, but they really didn't like each other.
Yeah.
You get him and Jean, obviously first meetings, interactions there. It's all been it's all set. The table was set well for Claremont, but when he walked in and knocked it hell out of the park, like, yeah, you're right. That's where the whole thing needs to really start.
Yeah, I think you have Uncanny X-Men 120 and 121 is Alpha Flight. When they come basically back in and was like, yeah, dude, you belong to us. And that's always been the kind of a thing. It's like, there's always these groups that, one, they either want Wolverine back because of we trained you, we did all this stuff, or, because remember at this time, up until a certain, I guess House of M, Wolverine has holes in his memory. He doesn't remember his past. They get him every now and then. You get bits and pieces here and there, but some people just want him close to them and back because what does he know?
Right.
And what does this information? What does this do for the rest of us? And what could he expose? So you have that. I think the thing that really puts Wolverine on the map, and I even remember seeing this on the whenever they did it in the the X-Men cartoons, the Dark Phoenix saga. You know, when he basically took out went solo against the Hellfire Club.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's probably the first time I was like, oh, like it was the moment when I realized that comic books had grown up a little bit, even for me. Because this was obviously before my time, but I was going back and reading all these back issues when I got into comics, and I remember that page with him in the sewer.
Yeah, there's one they later do with Kitty. Yeah,
They've done it with they do it all the time on purpose, and I'm glad because it pays homage to a great page. But that was it. That was the moment, and I was just like, well, that's awesome. And those guys are dead.
right. Oh, you fucked up now. You know,
because he doesn't just get knocked into the sewers or fight the Hellfire Club. This is the first time we see like en masse, like these just red shirt villains get laywayed by a tornado of metal swords. And that's basically what it is. And then later on, Jim Shooter, when he became editor-in-chief, said that Wolverine can't kill. And so all these guards survive and become a much bigger problem later. And then a much bigger problem later when they co-opt them to make them into a movie, which we'll talk about at the end of this podcast.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea.
Hey, dude, because...
What are we talking about?
You saw... What?
I saw what?
Fair enough. We'll talk about it when we get there.
Okay.
But for me, that was like the star... Wolverine was already like a big part of the books, and the Proteus saga was huge because you got to see vulnerable Wolverine. You learn his name is Logan for the first time when he talks to leprechauns. All this is true, I swear to God. But this was the first time that, like, not the first time, but it was the defining badass character moment of Wolverine.
Right.
You took your best shot, now it's my turn. I'm in the sewer. I literally couldn't be lower, but from the look on that panel, you know the bad guys are fucked.
Right. Just like, oh.
He could not be lower. He'd been thrown into these sewers. He's like, well, my turn. I'm like, oh no, he's alive. You guys are fucked. He's alive.
And here's the other thing too you got to realize about Wolverine. And again, I think those pages, and I want to say that was what, I think that's 132.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. That's something that, if they don't do the exact page again, something that always comes back, if you're an enemy of Wolverine, you better kill him. As hard as it is. Because if you don't kill him, you might defeat him, but you won the battle. The war is not over. And he will come back. And he will get you back 10 times worse.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is not, like... you give him your best shot, and if your best shot doesn't kill him, God help you. Like, you know what I love about that panel? I think the next issue after that is he's taking on the Hellfire guard, and he takes out two of them. He gets the last one. He's just like, you really want to? He basically hits him with the dirty Harry. You really want to do this, son? you trying to? And the guy just throws his gun down. He's like, I don't want no problems.
You feel lucky, punk.
He's basically like, oh, damn, I was kind of hoping you would actually go for it.
You're like, I don't feel lucky. Thank you for asking. Right. I'm going to leave. Thank you for your inquiry. Right. Upon further review, I do not indeed feel lucky. Yeah. Have a great day.
Oh, yeah. He basically shitted his pants, yo. It was
Which was the appropriate reaction.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? I did actually have it. Here we go. He's like, hey, bub, I know what you're thinking. He's hurt. And he's 5 meters away from me, and I got a full clip of ammo in my rifle. Question is, can I kill Wolverine before he reaches at me and cuts me into a shish kebab with those freaky claws of his? Well, bub, Wolverine is virtually unkillable. Wolverine's claws are adamantium, the strongest metal known, capable of slicing through vanadium steel like a hot knife through butter. And 5 meters on the floor ain't much distance at all for me. It's your play, hero. I'm waiting. The look on the other guy's face the entire time is sheer panic. He drops the gun. Shoot, I was hoping you'd go for it.
I mean, he says he wanted to go for it. That's a real convincing case for him not to go for
it. Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh man, so you got that. So you have that solo moment there. There's another one I think in later issues 162 is when the Wolverine takes on the Brood, And again, there's always these cases where Wolverine ends up on alone. Like you get all the other X-Men taken care of, or they're away, and there's just Wolverine left, and that's never good odds for you.
Right, like because like I honestly have always thought that he had to save face in front of the X-Men. Like, you don't want to see what I really am. You don't want to see what I really am. Oh, they're gone. You guys are fucked.
Well, we'll get to this later on when we deal with obviously his number one foe in Sabertooth. But there's plenty of times he says that to Sabertooth. It's like, listen, you attack me and the other X-Men are around here. That's one thing. But me and you right now, we out here in the middle of nowhere, and there's somebody else. I can cut loose and not feel guilty about it. And that's the thing that you get with Wolverine too. It's like he never wants to lose control, and there's always that battle of him not losing control because he doesn't want to feel that way. Unlike Sabertooth, who is fully in one with his more animalistic nature, Wolverine doesn't want to feel that way. He doesn't want to go that way. But if he has to, God help you. And you should run. But I like that because it adds another dynamic to the character. It separates him from the other feral mutants we see, because there are plenty of them out there.
Right.
And that's what separates him. It's like he doesn't want to be that way. He doesn't want to go down that road. It's like, yes, he can kill and he's the best at what he does. He never says, I like it sometimes. He doesn't like killing. He doesn't want to have to do that. If he has to do it, he'll do it. He'll be that guy. But there's a lot of times in here where Wolverine doesn't want to. I think there's other issues when, another aspect of Wolverine and him being an animal is him hunting and things like that. Another thing that we don't see very often in other mediums. But it's always the thing he says is like, only kill what you can eat. Don't go so far. Don't kill for sport. Don't do it to be an asshole. Don't do it that way. Kill what you can eat. And that's kind of the thing he lives by. And I think these earlier, especially the Dark Phoenix saga and those ones with the Brood, they kind of shows you what you could get with Wolverine as a solo character. And that kind of leads into that first limited series. I think it's 4 issues by Claremont. And I'll be honest, I think I read this like once every year. And it really holds up. Like it's still a good read. And it's something that came out in 82.
Yeah, that's the thing I've also noticed is that before you got the ongoing, or even like, I guess, all the standalone minis in the 80s were really strong. Even What's the One Havoc? Mm-hmm. What's it called? Meltdown. Like, Meltdown holds up.
Yeah.
They all hold up. The Kitty Pryde Wolverine 85.
Yeah.
What was the one, what was the patch one? Is it 88?
Yeah, the 88 is his the volume, his first ongoing series, full series. Yeah, right. Patch. First 1 through 6. Yeah, they hold up. Like I'm reading through these things and they're, I'm shocked by it. I'm shocked by how much they hold up. The 1 through 4 issues are basically Wolverine going to Japan. First of all, I love how it opens up though with him tracking down this bear and killing this bear that's killed some other people, and he tracks down to put the bear out of his misery and tracks it down and takes it out. You're like, oh, okay, well he's just doing that because the bear killed someone. Okay, then you find out that the bear had been shot by another hunter who had been careless and had shot the wound. So Wolverine then goes down and tracks down that hunter, and then whoops his ass. And but he ends up getting finding out that Mariko, the Yoshida, the woman he loves, is not returning his calls, is marrying somebody else. So he goes out to confront her and finds out that she's been forced to marry somebody else because her father came back and said that she needs to marry somebody else. Lord Shingren. And the thing that I like about Wolverine is, he's this guy that has, this healing factor, and you always think of him somebody who's going to win a fight. He gets his ass whooped. He gets his ass whooped in this.
Yeah.
And basically by his the woman he loves, his father, in front of everybody. And
well, that's something I think that they get in the books that you don't see a lot in the movies or other media, and we'll talk about that later, is that Wolverine takes L's, man.
Yeah. And
that power set, it sounds cool, but it can suck.
Yeah. And another thing we should point out too is, yes, he can heal, but it doesn't mean he doesn't feel pain.
Right. It still hurts.
It fucking hurts. I think at one point he describes it as, yeah, the worst part is when it's not like the bullets being exposed. It's like when the muscles are sewing back together and things like that's what really hurts. That's what kills you. That's what drives you down. So but yeah, he takes L's. And I think what makes the character so strong is he takes L's but he gets back up. I mean, like he goes to this fight. Shingen is an expert, and he cheats. So much for honor. I roll with the kick, cursing the poison for slowing my reflexes. I'm vulnerable for all of 3 seconds. Plenty of time. He strikes the nerve clusters. The critical pressure points where a blow can instantly paralyze and kill someone. Too late, I realize which of them he's going for. Like, it's a fight that he literally loses and gets his, and basically not only does he lose it, but he basically forces Wolverine to go feral almost, and then still beats him down. And I think what did he say to his daughter? He's like, "Behold, daughter, I hear Shingen say, I see a miracle as I struggle to hold off the oblivion. The man you possess, you profess to love, except that he is no man at all. He is an animal cast in the semblance of a human form. Gaze upon him, Mariko, and witness his true nature, his true self. Here is the thing to watch. You have given your heart. Answer me truthfully. Is he worth such a prize?" And she says no. Like, it's a powerful moment, and you see that this is basically mini series starts with Wolverine getting his ass kicked and having the woman he loves basically turn her back on him. So, yeah,
it's heartbreaking. Like, and I think that's something that people lose sight of, and that they touched on in this week's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's the tragedies that make you human.
And there's a lot of tragedy when it comes to Wolverine.
And Wolverine feels really, really human.
Yeah, there's a lot of that coming in there. So, again, we're not going to do, like, comic book clubs and go through these. Like, the limited series is definitely good. He eventually comes in and gets again, he always comes back, almost.
Once you beat Wolverine, you just created a new problem for yourself.
Right, he's going to
because you may have I got all these ninjas and all this time. He has nothing but time and a desire to see you bleed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he will make those things occur for him.
Yep. The next one, I think something we covered in the Kitty Pryde one, is Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, which back.
I reread again, even though we just read it for Kitty Pryde. It's still great.
Yeah, it is. And the thing I love about it is it's great. It's great for dual purposes. It's great for Kitty Pryde, and it's also great for Wolverine. Because here you get the second part of Wolverine that we're going to cover throughout when you see this stuff, and like when you get to him open up the school, it makes sense. Wolverine has a soft spot for kids.
He's a teacher.
He is a teacher. He protects the little girls. He's tough on the boys, but he's also like he helps them grow up, and he's also a protector of them. That is what he does, and you establish that with this Kitty Pryde and Wolverine series here. So when you get to Schism and him opening up his own school back in like 2011, it actually makes sense because he's always done this. Like, he literally tracks down Kitty, trains her to be a ninja, beat Ogden, and he does all this stuff, and like he's the reason why Kitty Pryde's a ninja.
And the other thing is, you got to realize that these Wolverine minis are basically his day off.
Oh yeah. In between everything else he does.
Saturday, I'm gonna go get some groceries, and Kitty's been possessed by a spirit of a long dead samurai. God damn it!
So one of the things I love about Wolverine is, and I didn't know some of the later stuff is, I started paying more attention to writers and who's writing things. I didn't know so many of the writers I love today have written Wolverine stories.
There was a good period back in the mid 2000s and late 1990s where people were like, "Hey man, I've got a Wolverine story. Can I come in and drop in and tell a good story?"
Yep. And
it's the same way we got Batman's Hush, but with less fanfare.
Mm-hmm. There is, I think this is one of Jason Aaron's stuff. Is part of I think there's dual issues. So he wrote the first part, but it's basically like experience a day in the life of Wolverine. It's Wolverine. It's the third volume, I guess, depending on how the 2003 volume. I think it's issue like 73 or something like that. And it starts off literally with just going through Wolverine's days, and it's like Sunday morning, and it shows him sleeping on a park bench. And the cop goes, "Time to sleep it off. Go somewhere else." Yeah, okay. You know a good place to get some eggs around here? 4 eggs and 3 cups of coffee later, it shows him biting Juggernaut. Then it's Monday. Monday, he's over here fighting with the Defenders. Or I think that's actually no, that's the new Avengers. Tuesday, it looks like he's fighting zombies. Wednesday, he's fighting somebody. He's fighting with I think this is X-Force. Thursday, he's with Cyclops, and it's like Mystique holding the gun. Thought I told you to kill that woman. I thought I did. Friday, he's with Spider-Man and facing off a bunch of Hydra agents. Cool. I love when we team up. My horoscope is Spider-Man, of course. Yeah. My horoscope said I expected great things today, so I should have known. You want to get a cappuccino after, or shut up. Saturday shows him with outside of a strip club. Sunday he's with Iceman. Tuesday he's fighting Cyber, asking where's Romulus. Like, it just goes through each day showing how much shit Wolverine does. Here's like, when do you fucking sleep, dude? Oh, you.
But I love that. I love that even that the overexposure Wolverine's become a character defining moment. Like, he's always working and always busy because he feels like he has so much to atone for. And it's an aspect that kind of went unsaid for a long time, but I think that with his raising of his profile, something like that Aaron book is really important because it shows this is all that he's got.
Right. He can't sleep. It's like he can't rest. He doesn't have it. He doesn't give up. Like he needs to keep himself busy and not be trapped in his own mind. And this might have been after. Can't remember if that was before or after his memories actually came back to everything as it went on. Which gives him another set of stuff.
What year was it?
Oh man, this might be 2003. So I think that was before, but I'm not sure exactly.
Right, it's close.
Yeah, 'cause I think that
House of M was right around there.
Yeah, so this is the series started in 2003, but I'm not sure when this actual issue came out. Let me see if I can find. It doesn't have a date on it, so I can't tell exactly when it came out. But yeah, so. But even without having all those memories back, he always had something to atone for, something there. So you had the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine stuff. Then we get his long running series, which I think counts as either Volume 1 or Volume 2. I think it's Volume 2. I think some of them count.
Volume 1 was the mini.
Yeah, Volume 1 was the mini. So Volume 2, and you get that 1 through 6, and this is at the point where the X-Men have faked their own deaths and are pretending to be dead. And yeah, and you get him with the worst undercover identity ever, Patch.
If it didn't work, he wouldn't do it.
It shouldn't have worked.
It shouldn't have worked.
It shouldn't have worked.
5 foot nothing Canadian who smokes cigars and drinks. Let's put an eye patch on him and call him Patch. They're gonna know it's Logan. Put the eye patch on him and see what happens. That's what it felt like. Someone was like, nah. Yeah. But what if I thought it was always like a subtle shot at Clark Kent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No.
How ridiculous is this?
Yeah. Like, there's at one point he's fighting Silver Samurai and he pops his claws. And I'm like, wait a minute. There's no way Silver Samurai doesn't know it's you, yo. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like, really? We're doing this? We're really doing this. All right, fuck it. All right, fine. Okay. That's what we're doing here. Yeah, so I did kind of forget this around the time did Sabertooth taking out the Morlocks. Was that before or after this?
Morlock Massacre happened while they were presumed dead by the world.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that this is around that same time, so that comes back later on because just
everything knows.
Yeah, that's just a problem. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I started reading through Volume 2, and you start with basically this. Is it the first 6 issues of Magic 4? I can't remember how long he's there. Like, I think it's there for a good portion of that. A lot of these stories take place there.
Yeah, it was a good way to tell Wolverine stories, to keep him off the larger playing field of the Marvel Universe.
Right.
So they created a situation where Madruper was kind of his place that they'd stick him to tell fun Wolverine stories, but have them not be like Wolverine stories,
Right. They're just Patch.
Right.
Where
This
everybody
guy
knows.
who happens to look at Wolverine and also occasionally pop his claws.
Right, and has a healing factor and heals really quickly, but okay. And like it was weird because he would run into people that he knew. And I'm like, but they know you as Logan. And they're trying to like. It's one of the things I kind of just figured everybody knew, and they were like, "We're gonna play along. we're gonna play along. And we're gonna pretend like."
Yeah, we just gotta. Everyone just humor him so he doesn't stab us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Humor him so he doesn't stab us, please.
Yeah. So, let's see. This is also around the time. I'm trying to see because some of the stuff we'll come back to later on when we cover some of his enemies. Mm-hmm. So, because I mean, there's also the time when they also are doing Marvel Comics Presents, and he was usually the cover of those, and he ran the first like nine pages. His story. That was always kind of weird because you're trying to read those. You're like, oh damn it, I got to go through. I got to read. I'm trying to read this, and I only get 9 issues. So I got to go. So it takes like, I think in '91 they covered the Weapon X story. And you finally get like some more information on what happened to him and how he how the adamantium got grafted onto his bones. And but it's like Marvel Comics Presents 72 through 84. It really could have been 3 issues.
Yeah.
But because they the way they do this, it was like Wolverine got the first, and then they would like they would split up the Marvel Comics Presents so that he would get like the first 9 issues, and then 2 other characters would get their own like 9 issues in there to get the whole issue. I was like, slick way to getting people to buy this stuff because they didn't care about the other characters in there. But that was some asshole stuff. I think you can get these things. I think they've collected them all into like probably a Weapon X
omnibus or something.
Yeah, they've probably done it by now. That's probably the best way to do it. Unfortunately, if you're going to read it on Marvel Unlimited, I think you got to go through the Marvel Comics Present stuff. And I think that's the first time they actually go through and show you what actually happened. I mean, you've gotten bits and pieces of it before then. But I think Marvel Comics Presents, they actually go through what it was with how Wolverine became basically this living weapon in Weapon X.
Right.
And that was an important, again, another important piece of the puzzle. And I think one of the things about Wolverine, the character Wolverine is a constant mystery and puzzle you're putting together. What's going on with his background.
And that was one of the major appeals of the character for such a long time. And we'll talk about why I'm sounding so angry about it later. For the longest time, it was we could tell any story with this character because we could just mine his past because his past was this undefined thing. I understand there were some fans who said, unless he's got a definitive past and you can make up anything. But isn't that kind of why we love comics? Mm-hmm. Isn't that kind of why people buy issues that say, Wolverine's past story meeting up with Richard and Mary Parker because he worked alongside the Parkers because they were CIA agents. Mm-hmm. Like, he's known Peter since he was in the womb. Like, that's one of the things that just adds to the tapestry without having to nail down the history. But no, oh no. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, you're talking about the stuff that happens in that Wolverine origin stuff with Romulus and...
Why even make Origins the first one?
Yeah.
Why? We'll talk about it. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, we'll keep going. We'll get into that stuff. Again, at this point, you get... Again, we're skipping over some stuff, but we'll come back to some of this stuff as we go through enemies. So we're kind of just going through the brief history of Wolverine. So at this point, we're going to jump all the way up to, I guess, Fatal Attractions.
So the entire time we've been talking and telling specifically Wolverine stories, he's been an X-Man. He's been the X-Man. He's been the constant on the team. And in 91 or 92, they brought back the X-Men proper book. And it all culminated in the end of the first mega arc with the emergence of Magneto and the crossover you just alluded to called Fatal Attractions. The climax of which sees the X-Men take a small strike team and invade Asteroid M. Chris, will you please speak to the tactical lack of genius that involves putting Wolverine on that team?
Leave that man alone. Leave.
Here we go.
And the other thing, too, is do not take the man that has metal in his body against a man who
Chris, he really wanted to go.
I know he really wanted to go. You tell Logan to go find one of his 10 other teams he's on, and you go do that. We got this. When you think back to it, again, stupid, doesn't make sense, but I think it worked for 2 purposes. One, it needed to show you just that Magneto wasn't playing. And I think that it showed you that you had to push Charles Xavier to finally step up. Because up until this point, Charles and Magneto had been just playing this game, right? And at this point, when Magneto decides, first of all, Wolverine was going to kill him, so he could have.
Yes.
Wolverine was not going to stop. And I can't. Who was it? Was it Charles that called out? Somebody that called out to stop Wolverine from striking the killing blow. Already a problem. And Magneto finally has had enough. It was like, he was going to kill me. Now you made me mad.
And it's set up well because if you read issue 1, he tried to kill him there.
Yes.
And Magneto notes it, and this is after Magneto had once been the headmaster of the X-Men of the Xavier Institute. Don't ask. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was something that had been set up previously that Wolverine had going for these killing blows, and yeah, he tried it.
Mm-hmm. Wolverine was going for the killing blows, and I think even at that point, Magneto makes a comment. It's like, "Yo, why? Like, I can control metal. What are you doing here?" And Magneto pulls the adamantium off of Wolverine's bones through the pores of his skin, basically killing him, almost killing him, and puts him like it is the final straw for Charles Xavier. It gets repercussions going on because Charles basically it finally attacks Magneto.
Mind wipes his ass.
Mind wipes his ass, which has ramifications later on. And nobody knows if this is the end of Wolverine. So I think it's which one comes first? Is it Wolverine 75 or is it X-Men 25? I can't remember when I think X-Men 25 is when the adamantium really gets pulled out, and Wolverine 75 is the one where they're trying to get back and save Wolverine, and Wolverine ends up getting up and grabbing Jean when she's about to fly out the plane.
I think that's right.
Yeah, I think that's right. Because Wolverine no longer has his adamantium anymore. Even then, I think his healing factor is so overtaxed for trying to save his life that even his healing factor at some point is greatly diminished at that point. We enter in a new age of dealing with Wolverine. A Wolverine that doesn't have adamantium. I think even for the first few issues, you're getting a feral Wolverine too.
Well, not even just the first few issues. It's kind of hinted at and kind of revealed that the adamantium was helping keep his skeleton from further mutating into a more bestial form.
Yeah.
This is where he stops wearing a mask and starts wearing a bandana, and people will colloquially call it as no nose Wolverine.
Yeah. Somebody got he got the
from that era. His nose apparently falls off at some point.
Yeah. It was a weird looking time.
It was a weird time, but it was also the first time. It was a really daring idea to really change Wolverine.
Well,
he went from from something that we had all known and kind of grown accustomed to, and kind of become woven into the fabric of the universe, to becoming what he was originally, this completely unpredictable berserker where you never knew quite what's going to happen next, as he was clearly more feral than he had ever been.
Yeah, here's the thing. They hinted at him getting it back 25 issues later in 100. He doesn't. He doesn't get his adamantium back until 145. Wolverine 145. So they go a good while. They go almost like... so you get the first half of a Wolverine's series with him with adamantium. You almost get a whole second half of it without him having adamantium. So they go a while without that. And I think what it was is, to me, and it's not often you see this... You did. We kind of got a little bit of it with that Magneto miniseries where they kind of greatly diminished his power. It's like when you change a character this much, you have to find new ways of telling the story with them, and right. I think it took them a while to get their footing, because after a while you get this feral Wolverine, you're just like, oh, okay, I don't know if I can read a whole solo issue with feral Wolverine like this and him not really being able to do anything. After a while, he gets that under control, but then he doesn't have adamantium, but he's still Logan, and that means him trying to do certain things, and you get some really, really cool stories in there. I'm gonna jump ahead real quick to I read Warren Ellis's Not Dead Yet. It was Wolverine 119 to 122. That's a really good story. and it doesn't really affect anything else. It's basically a guy Wolverine thought, an assassin Wolverine thought he killed back when he had his adamantium, comes back and is coming back for Wolverine. But he doesn't know that Wolverine doesn't have adamantium anymore. So he's basically, and Wolverine's like, yo, man, this guy is set to kill me when I was at my most unkillable. And this is a guy who, you know, he if he wants you dead, he's going to kill you. So
yeah, you're dead.
You're dead. So it's basically, I think it's what, 4 issues? It's 4 issues of seeing Wolverine having to deal with this. And I'll be honest, it's a really interesting and cool story watching Wolverine have to deal with this. Let me see. I have part of the thing. He's like, I need to be out of New York 5 minutes ago. I need to get some distance to see who's following me. Can't be McLesh. McLesh is 10-year-old black scrapping garbage at the bottom of Hong Kong harbor. He'll be 60 years old living in a wheelchair if he were alive. McLesh on a vendetta kills all the Target's friends. I need to be away from the X-Men, away from everybody I know. This guy had adamantium laced bombs. He outfitted people with adamantium bullets. Like, he's coming for Wolverine, and Wolverine doesn't have adamantium anymore.
Right.
You know. So I think they found a really cool story. Even after so going back to when the adamantium got out, at this point you're like, well, Wolverine doesn't have claws anymore.
Right.
And I'll never. What issue was it when you find out that he does? And it's just like when he pops them, you're like what? No, but Wolverine, you don't have claws. What are you doing? I think it's
what are you doing? Yeah.
Let me see here. No. Oh my goodness. I gotta see. When
I'm trying to find out where the bone claws first show up.
Is it 75? No.
Maybe. Ooh.
It might be
75.
Yeah. It's the end of 75. He popped.
It was 75.
He's in the danger room, and yeah, just come on, man. Like, let's see. Yeah, he's in the danger room, and they're all looking at him like this is not good. He's in his costume, and he's like, I'm just getting warmed up, Charlie. These piles of scrap of metal and circuit boards ain't got nothing on the whole knucklehead. Turn it off, Professor. Don't listen to her, Charlie. I may still be down, but I'm not out. I'm the best at what I do. And he fucking pops his claws, and they're bone. And it's the first time you realize he still has claws. They're just fucking bone. And yeah, you got to remember also too, whenever Wolverine pops his claws, because they come out of his skin and he heals, it heals every time. So every time he pops his claws, he's hurting himself. So here's him now. I think here at this point in 75, his healing factor is almost taxed out completely. So he just popped his claws and is literally bleeding out. Like, it is a gut wrenching scene, you know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you got to remember that this is the scene. Also, this is the period where he and Julie talking under a tree, and he explains that it hurts every time I pop them. Mm-hmm. Like it tears through muscle and flesh to pop the claws. And you're right, he's been pushing his healing factor just to stay alive. Mm-hmm. And popping his claws is probably the worst idea he could have had.
Yep. Yeah, I pop them out every few days a day now. Keep the channel open like pierced ears. This is the guy you're dealing with here, man.
Yeah.
I put this on here too, just because it's right before we get into Age of Apocalypse, and it features one of my favorite moments with Sabertooth and Wolverine. It's a moment when Wolverine lobotomizes Sabertooth.
Pops that third claw.
Listen.
So people listening who don't know what I'm talking about, one of Wolverine's go-to methods of interrogating someone was he put a fist under your chin and popped the 2 claws on the side of your face and threatened to pop the third one. And there was a lot of convoluted reasons, but Sabertooth is at the Institute being taken care of after a fight, and he damn near guts and kills Psylocke, and Logan pops the third claw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's another one of those moments where, I still have that issue, because it was just one of my, again, this is one of those comics that it has the front cover, but I think it wraps around. It's a wraparound cover too. and you get Wolverine and Sabertooth on there, and they're just going at it, and it's just, you know, it's so them. Like Wolverine shows up, you know, they say that TV rots your brains, but I learned a lot of neat stuff from it. You gonna slip these restraints on peacefully, Sabertooth, or do I have to come in there and pop open a can of butt kick? What you gonna do, Logan? Chain me up and lock me in the basement? Ain't gonna happen. That what your own mom and dad did to you, wasn't it? Maybe they were right. Maybe they shouldn't have thrown away the key. Maybe they should have thrown away the key and immigrated to South Wales. I fixed both of them, just like I'm gonna fix you. And they have a fight, and I'm not gonna say it's a respectable fight because they are going at it.
Yeah,
but it's all good until Wolverine pops the 2 claws. Had the third there. You punking out on me, short stuff. You pull this halfway malarkey out of the jungle, you'll be bad breath on a hyena. I ain't lying. You let me walk, and I swear I'll track down every living thing you ever cared about, one way or the other. Kitty Pryde, Jean Grey, Jubilee. I'll make them suffer a good long time before I kill them. I'm ready for that last big glow, Logan. And he tells him to do it, and Wolverine pops it, and that's when they go into the Age of Apocalypse. Like that. I mean. Yeah.
They use the Age of Apocalypse really well to kind of sell that things are changing. Mm-hmm. Rogue kisses Gambit. Like there's a bunch of things that happen that you're like, oh, and then all of a sudden the universe is over.
Right.
It was really well done, and it was before the internet, so it came out of nowhere. Really, really well done by the X-Men group at the time.
Yeah. No, this is when I was still collecting comics, so I got in this issue, and then I went in and I definitely got Weapon X. You know, and read the Weapon X stuff, and again, we'll say that for some other stuff. But yeah, we've done comic book clubs on Age of Apocalypse. It does come back later on in Wolverine stuff, so we'll talk about it there. Like I said, there's a lot of interesting stories you find with Wolverine without his adamantium, and I think it matters. Right. Like I said, not dead yet. We just talked about it, but that was a really good one. I found Warren Ellis wasn't as crazy as Warren Ellis usually is.
A reeled in Warren Ellis.
Right. It was like Warren Ellis can get out there sometimes. It's not bad, but sometimes it's just. But this was like I was like, this is normal. This is normal. So then we get the return of his adamantium. This is you get some teasing of it in 100. They don't do it then. They wait another 45 issues, and you get him. What better way to do it than bringing Apocalypse.
And Sabertooth.
And basically have Wolverine and Sabertooth fight for each other to see who's going to be the new death for Apocalypse in, I think, the storyline, the 12. And Wolverine decides he's got to be the one because he thinks unlike Sabertooth, again, similar as they are, they're both killers. He thinks that, and he's right, Sabertooth will enjoy it.
Yeah, Logan will at least not want it. Sabertooth will lean into that shit.
Wolverine can at least try to stop it and try to be back. And, you know, eventually do, obviously. But now you have Wolverine back with his adamantium after showing that he is when you make him a weapon for somebody else, you're always glad that he's back on your side. There's that. I think after the 12, that's about when we get Wolverine Origin, the first one. And we were going to talk about this.
Boo!
So you didn't like the origin with James Howlett stuff. The first one and the second one they review his history with the Creeds.
Boo!
Yeah,
there's no point. I get that, and this was. So let's talk real about this. This is about the same time that they were selling off assets, and Marvel needed to keep making splashes in comics. And one of their go-to ideas was always origins. We can always tell Wolverine's origins because we know we never would. And I get it. They were desperate. They needed the money. They were young, impressionable children. But I still stand against it. And I always will.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I read the second one. I can't remember who wrote the first one. The second one is actually written by, I think, is Jason Aaron wrote the second one, right? No.
Ooh, I don't know.
No, Aaron. It's Kieran Gillian. Because he writes Uber. He writes a lot. He wrote Darth Vader. It's written really well, and I actually liked it. I liked how they connected. Because the first one made it seem like Dog was Sabertooth and stuff like that. The second one kind of doesn't deal with that and kind of gets you an origin on. See, I like the second one more than the first one, because the first one, I think, like you, it kind of removes some of the mystery on who Wolverine is.
It's like, why do I even know this?
Right. The second one, though, that happened in like 2013 is years later.
Yeah, the second one was what, 12 years later?
Yeah,
like, that's different.
Yeah, Origin 2 I liked. So the Wolverine Origin, the first one, when you're introduced to James Howlett and all this other stuff, I'm with you on that one. I probably didn't need to know that. And I feel like Origin 2 that came out in 2013, I feel like that one almost kind of, it used some of it, because it uses the death of Rose as being that, but right. It to me doesn't mess anything up. It doesn't tell you too much. Like it shows you that, hey, Wolverine is living with the wolves. It's stuff that we kind of already knew, right? Wolverine lived with wolves. He's the Creeds are brought in to capture them. They're running a circus, and they're the Wild Man and stuff like that. I think they're Essex. I'm assuming they're trying to. They're saying that Essex is early Sinister.
And Nathaniel Essex actually, without getting too far into Sinister, yeah. He's from the Victorian era. Mm-hmm. He's a mutant who's augmented by Apocalypse, and so yeah, this is that same Essex.
Right. So I liked it, and then you find out that the Creed that's in this that Wolverine kills isn't even Creed. It's his Victor Creed's younger brother that he used to terrorize, and the Origin 2 to me ties so much into the first. When you finally get the first Sabertooth and Wolverine fight, when Sabertooth kills Silver Fox, like it kind of ties all that together. So I don't mind that one as much.
Origins 2 is a different. I'm talking about why do I have Wolverine in a nightshirt?
Okay, I got you. No, you're right. I'll get you that one. And you're right. It was a big seller because those sold a lot. Like I had several copies.
Wanted to know, and I was just over screaming, "You don't want to know!" And then by the next week, everyone and their mom's calling him James in the books. I'm like, yeah. Well, how do all they know now?
Yeah. I bought them. I bought the first two because they were collectors. But I never really read them. This was the first time I actually read, and I was like, you know what? 'Cause I kind of don't.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm not trying to distract. Someone just emailed me a new link from CBR that says, The Last Stand, 15 Reasons Why X-Men 3 Didn't Suck. Yeah, someone's just trolling us over there.
Yeah, no, don't do that. We're not going to touch that. So,
sorry.
Yeah, so you get Origins that kind of starts peeling back some of the mystique behind Wolverine. And like you said, it gets to be too much sometimes.
Particularly once, let's talk about House of M.
Okay.
Because Origins was one thing. We all knew. They told us. We knew. And we kind of, you could use that to seed some future Wolverine stories, which they never did until I think Wolverine and the X-Men Jason Aaron's run.
Yeah.
Where he brought back Dog. Mm-hmm. But what they didn't do was have the characters in story now.
Right.
But House of M occurs. Scarlet Witch has no more mutants. Reality is altered. Scarlet Witch changes reality, gives her father her greatest wish, and that's when the reality gets changed, and Wolverine's trapped in a reality where he now knows his past. Mm-hmm. And because of the machinations of the event, he's one of the characters who's aware of the House of M and carries with him everything that he learned there, including Spider-Man and a couple of other characters. And that changes things.
Right.
While I will always fight against Origins as an idea, and even Origins as a book that we're going to talk about next, the idea of torturing Wolverine by knowing was a good plot device. I supported it. I think it really helped the character move forward from kind of being not aimless, but kind of just being kind of like the plug and play, no explanation needed.
Well, I think it's different. Like with Wolverine Origin, they tell you the story they tell you a story you didn't need to know, right?
Right.
They tell you a prequel story you didn't need to know. With House of M, you get all the bad. You get like, dude, you have a past. Like, we knew you had a past, but nigga, you have a past.
But the thing is, wouldn't it have been more effective if we had him learn, but the reader didn't know, and then we use X-Men Origins to really, mm-hmm. or Wolverine Origins, the book, the ongoing that comes out of it, to really explore that?
Right. Yeah. Again, this is around the time you start, yeah. Not gonna lie, this is a lot of this other stuff I've had to go back now and catch up on and read because I didn't at this point I had been out.
Yeah.
I had been out. Let's see. So again, so you get now you do get some good stories out of this. Like you get a Brian K. Vaughan's Logan. It's 3 issues, standalone basically, and it's again another one of him remembering certain things and having to deal with it. And it's a nice little 3 issues of dealing with that, and again, in another tragedy of any woman that sleeps with Wolverine. just don't do that.
Yeah, his dick is not your friend.
Not your friend at all. There's no adamantium in that. There's no protection there, guys.
No.
You get Enemy of the State, where Hydra kills and Gorgon kill Wolverine and bring him back to basically. Yeah, you know what Enemy of the State made me realize? It's like, again, we undersell just how deadly Wolverine is. He's not just a brawler. I mean, this is a guy that can sneak into and steal stuff from the Fantastic Four. Sneak through their defenses and steal stuff from the Fantastic Four. He took down, like, I think at one point you're like, he took down a helicopter. The great scene to me is when he sneaks up on fucking Daredevil. After saying about how Daredevil's heightened senses make him hear a pin drop. And Wolverine sneaks up on him and basically puts his fist up to his side of his head, threatening to pop his claws on him, yo. It's like, this is a guy that if he wants to, you'll never even know he was there. Dangerous.
He's a ninja.
Yeah, he's a ninja. It's like, you can't undersell this. Also, after House of M, I don't think they talk about it as much, and Whedon didn't really touch it. Cause I think it's weird when Astonishing X-Men came out, but you get Astonishing X-Men, which I think is another great run that has some really great moments in Wolverine history. Yeah, really.
Yeah, Astonishing is great because you get the reunion with one of his 2 best friends who was dead at the time. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing, we'll talk about, I guess, as we carry on. The relationships he builds in the X-Men is so important. And it's so interesting because for someone who's for so long been a loner, he tends to surround himself with people he cares about.
Yep.
Because you talk about House of M, this is the era Wolverine becomes an Avenger. And becomes kind of, and it was Marvel saying, well, the Avengers have always been one thing for us in our universe, but what if we take a JLA approach and say our best and brightest heroes are going to be Avengers? And that's how you get the team of Spider-Man and Iron Man and Wolverine and Daredevil and all these A-list names who had never been Avengers before.
Yep. That's also you get I think the new Avenger runs has Brian Michael Bendis. You get some of that stuff in there, and we're skipping over some of this because some of this stuff we covered in other character corners. And
it's also like 10 years or like 40 years of Wolverine stories.
Yeah, it's a lot. So is there anything else before we get to Schism? There's Jean's death again.
Yeah, that happened a little bit before this. Yeah, Jean dies again in New X-Men under
Planet X. Yeah.
Grant Morrison's pen. I thought it was really well done. I thought that the whole run with Morrison. I'm a Morrison apologist and a Morrison fan, so I'm admittedly biased here, but I really enjoyed what he brought to the table as far as that book goes. I really enjoyed the new take on old ideas and how everything's being recycled and being redone. And he kind of breathed new life for me into Logan with the revelation of the weapon, him being Weapon 10.
Yes.
And the Weapon Plus program.
Yes. That's the other thing, too, is you start realizing the X is not just because they like the letter X, but it means 10. You're talking about Roman numerals here. And you have other members of Deadpool. What number was that?
I think Deadpool was 11.
Yeah.
Or 12. Because Phantom X is Weapon 13.
Yep.
And was Cap 3 or 2?
I can't remember.
Captain America is one of them.
Yeah.
And is part of the Weapon Plus program. And it's just really interesting to see how this mythos was able to be built. And you remember that it all is being built off of a character that debuted as a throwaway arc. This was have gloves with knives in them who fought the Hulk. And it's crazy. They built this whole... You could have a Wolverine subsection of Xbox. You really could at this point. And you're right. It gets more pronounced with Schism in 2011, where the X-Men status quo had been that they were living on an island. They were living on Alcatraz to transform that into Utopia. They were training kids. They were training mostly to be fighters. And you get a little downtime, but there's a 5-issue run called Schism where he and Cyclops have the falling out. And it opens with like such great unity, and you see them really like they've reached the zenith of their relationship. Wolverine's supportive of Scott. He trusts Scott. He's like, you're the boss, man. Like I'm a soldier. But you also see that at one point a character badmouths Logan, and Scott's like, if you ever say anything bad about that man again, I will personally beat the shit out of you.
That's so. This is my first time reading Schism.
Okay.
And when I read it, I was expecting it to be like, oh, of course, the typical Cyclops.
And that's what people think, because people are like, oh, X-Men, they haven't mattered in years. And like, that just means you're not reading the books. They've evolved these characters and relationships.
Yeah. Like, it literally opens up at one point. Like, I think it's Iceman sitting on the beach and Wolverine is walking on the beach. And he's got throwing stars and broken arrows all in him. And when Bobby says, well, it must have been a hell of a night. No, just the usual. And walks off. It's just...
He's the best, man.
He's the best at what he does, yo. I mean, you can't deny that. And like you said, it's like you think you know the relationship of Cyclops and Wolverine, but the truth of the matter is they've, they're not. Like it's different there. Let me see if I can find this. Let's see. Yeah, so it's like here, Wolverine wants, Cyclops wants Wolverine to back him up he's speaking, I think, of the UN or something like that. And he's like, thank you, I mean that. For what? For being here. You made me come, for always being here. When there's somebody around we're following, I follow. That's probably the nicest thing you've ever said to me. I'm the best there is at stabbing things, not pleasantries. Go make your stupid speech. Like, it starts off so well, and even down to the fight, like, it takes them a while to come to blows, and what they come to blows over is Wolverine literally is just like, these kids need to be kids, like I remember there's that one point where, what was the little black girl mutant? Idol. He tells her, go play with dolls. She's like, I don't have dolls.
He brings her a doll. She says, yeah, what is this for? He says, it's for playing.
Yeah, I don't understand.
And he gets it from Kitty.
Yeah, I don't understand this. Is this part of the combat training? No, it's just a doll. It's just for playing with. It's just like you see that Wolverine. His whole idea is these are still kids, and it comes to he brings in the new Hellfire Club comes in. There's a bunch of kids, and it's funny. There's a bunch of kids that are doing this. That set off.
But even when he gets the doll from Kitty, she's like, you tried this with me, right?
Right.
And then you taught me how to be a ninja.
Right.
And he's like, shut up, I'm trying again.
I'm trying. Like Wolverine is trying, and he's like. And what happens is Idol has to, at one point, save the X-Men, and she has to kill some people.
Holy shit, yeah. And that is a fair statement.
And And Wolverine is not happy because he's basically saying, these kids don't need to be me. They should be...
That's the point of this, is they shouldn't have to be me.
Right. And that, I think when people say Schism, they think, oh, it's Cyclops versus Wolverine. No, it's really the idea of... Wolverine saying, look, I don't want these kids growing up the life I had, which is literally being a soldier and being a fighter all the time and not having time, and I kind of got it. Like, Wolverine has this perspective of his entire life has been nothing but people using him to be a weapon.
Well, that's the two sides of it are kind of, they're each arguing for themselves.
Right.
Wolverine's saying they shouldn't be like me, and Scott's like, they should be like me, because you can say that we went to school, but in the end of the day, we were training to fight.
Exactly. Cyclops was like, yeah, we had all that fun stuff too, but at the same time, we were also fighters. We learned to protect ourselves, and that's what the Schism is. And the truth of the matter is, they both have valid points. They both have valid points.
And that's the best part of this writing, is because people say, oh, X-Men's getting phased out. No, they wouldn't be putting this kind of writing behind it.
No.
If they were getting phased out, because you know what it is? It's a better version of Civil War.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah.
Because I can see both sides. And I don't know, did you read was it Catalyst or Regenesis? Did you read, there's a book that comes after Schism.
No.
It's a one-shot. I won't get the name of it. See, now I gotta look it up because it's my hard drive. It's either called Regenesis or but it's the story of the two of them walking around the X-Men universe and trying to get people to join them. Hold on. Is that? Yep, it was Regenesis. It came out in 2011, and I'm just going to read a couple scenes from it because you get this, because what Schism happens, they divide the X books. They put one on the West Coast, and that's going to be Scott's extermination team. Mm-hmm. They put one on the East Coast, and they reopen the now Jean Grey School for higher learning. And it's framed by this. I'll send it to you after we're done here. Mm-hmm. I'll put it in the Dropbox, but it's really interesting. And it opens with the sentence: "This isn't a fight. This is a disagreement, a profound disagreement, yes, but still just disagreement. Go to one, go to the other, or go your own way. But we all want you to choose what you think is best, because this is about beliefs. Neither Westchester or Utopia really need people who really don't want to be there. What do you believe? What do you really believe? Think carefully, and when you know, choose. And rest assured, whatever you decide, neither Logan or I will hold any grudge." And the first person Logan goes to is Bobby. Mm-hmm. And Bobby says, "Who else is with you?" He says, "No one yet." I was thinking, who's everything that this place isn't, talking about Utopia? And I thought of you and came right over. Bobby says, "Wow, you came to me first. You total suck up. You better be glad you sweetened the deal with the beer, or I'd kick you out of here." So you got to realize that the first thing that they show you is an original X-Man leaving Scott's side.
Right.
Someone he grew up with.
Right. Because that's the thing you got to realize, too, is Wolverine isn't one of the originals.
Right.
So, yeah.
At the end of it, like, say what you will about Bobby and Scott, they don't always get along. And then obviously Hank and Scott in a lot of the books that we read, but they grew up together. Mm-hmm. You get the scene with Kitty and Piotr deciding Piotr had to stay because he says everything. This is after he became the Juggernaut. I can't go to Westchester. It's a school, Kitty. With everything I now carry inside me, I'm not safe to be around children. Mm-hmm. And then he tells Hank, and Hank calls Scott. Logan invites Hank. He tells Agent Brand that Logan's restarting the school, which means I'll actually be running the school, and Logan will merely have the best office. And then he says to Brand, "One more second, I need to make one more call." And he gets the voicemail and he says, "I tell you what, Scott, it's gratifying to find myself in a pioneer, and what it is I can see is swiftly becoming a terribly fashionable movement." Like, it's so good. And then they do all this with like the different groups and the different kids. They do the kids and Cannonball and stuff. And she was going where? And then they interview Rachel Summers. She goes, "Of course I'm going to the school. I've been in space forever. I didn't even know we left the school." So it feels like a lapsed reader. Like, "What do you mean in school? Of course you're going to school." And they go to Quentin Queer. And he goes, "No, Utopia's the place for, what are those chains for?"
Right. Yo, the Quentin, like, they actually had their own little, I think it's Wolverine, X-Men, Alpha and Omega. They have that, yeah. Yeah.
Quentin's a dick. He's the best. But it's also my favorite scene in probably X books in the last 5-10 years, because Scott's losing. Like, they frame this book as Scott's losing people. Mm-hmm. And after Logan decides to take Toad on as a janitor, mm-hmm. The next scene is Scott reaching out to Storm and says, "Scott, don't turn this into an embarrassment. I've never been entirely aligned to your direction here. X-Force in theory and practice was an abomination. Even if you don't believe in Xavier's dream anymore, I do. Please don't go," Scott says. "I need you. I know what you're planning, Scott. You don't need me. You need my power." "No, or you don't understand. Hank left. Kitty's leaving. Bobby's leaving. Look who's going to be at my side. Magneto, Namor, Danger, Dr. Nemesis, Emma, even Peter and his sister. This can't go wrong. I need someone to make sure this doesn't go wrong. They don't need you. I need you." And that's how he convinced Storm to stay. And it's so interesting because if you think of the bloodthirsty, do everything at all costs character, you think of Wolverine.
Right.
And if you think of the person who says Xavier's dream above all, you think Cyclops. But as we read this and as I was reacquainting myself with the material, I realized how naturally they turned them into each other over the last 5 years, and subtly too.
Yeah, I mean it's done really a well job.
Yeah.
And like when I read it, at least when I read Schism, I was like, no, this makes perfect sense.
Right. The way they framed it makes it make perfect sense.
And when you see everybody, and we'll get into this, we're about to wrap up the history in a bit. When you see how they, the people that Wolverine, the kids that Wolverine has stood up for before, yeah, of course he's gonna run the school. Of course he's got this. Like it's natural, and of course not like. And I love when we read Wolverine and the X-Men. You have it, "By day, I'm Professor Logan. I have an office with a desk and my name on the door. Good morning, headmaster. On Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 3, I sit in front of a classroom full of children and lecture them on English Lit. But by night, I'm still Wolverine. I'm still the guy who goes out and stabs people that need stabbing. Having a school to look after hasn't changed that. If anything, it's only made it more important that I keep doing what I do." This is what I do. This is X-Force. We save the day by any means necessary. The way I see it is our job now to make sure the rest that we deal with never have a chance to show up at the school's doorstep. And I think we know what I mean by dealt with. And so he basically tells Kitty and Hank that he's running with X-Force, which is basically Age of Apocalypse, Nightcrawler, Deadpool, Slock, and Phantom X.
Yeah.
And Deathlock, and a Deathlock, who's not in the picture right there, but yes, there. Around this time, because it's around the same time as Schism, he's running with Uncanny X-Force, so you get that first arc that we covered in that comic book club, where the first one where they're fighting Warren from being the heir to Apocalypse, but we also have Evan, who is the new Apocalypse. And we also have Warren has become, doesn't remember his past, and literally thinks he's an angel now. And Wolverine enrolls both of them into the school. And the stuff that, because I went back and I quickly finished reading up the rest of the Uncanny X-Force. I want to go back and read it, just take my time and read that last half of that stuff. It's once again Wolverine, and at this point, Deadpool. Two characters you never would have thought, kind of trying to take care of. Growing and trying to take care of a little kid who has the power to destroy all of them. In Evan. And making sure he doesn't become... Like, it made so much sense. Like, when you read Uncanny X-Force and see what that team does... Like, at one point in Uncanny X-Force, Magneto finds out about them, shows up at their doorstep, and asks Logan to go back and kill a Nazi because he can't do it himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're a hit squad. Let's not... Yeah. Let's not be...
And he tries to dress us up, too, as something that it's not, but in the end of the day, they are a hit squad.
Yeah. That Uncanny X-Force team is a hit squad.
And a damn good one.
And a very good one. And by day, he teaches that to Jean Grey school.
And the fact that it all comes to be a problem,
yeah,
it's predictable, but at the same time, it's fulfilling to see that this was all temporary.
Mm-hmm.
It was never meant to last. He couldn't do it.
Yeah, he couldn't do it because it's not him. I mean, the intentions were pure and good, but it was never going to last and never get there. So, around this time, if you're wondering why we skipped over Old Man Logan, it's because it sucks.
It sucks.
I'm just gonna say it. There is no Mark Millar Old Man Logan story. It's not good. It's not really a good Wolverine story. I didn't like it, and I'm not fucking with it. So there's that. So we got that. And was there anything before we get into the Death of Wolverine arcs? I mean,
he loses healing factor at one point. Like, there's a lot of things that happen that are kind of leading to this. But yeah, the main thing next is going to be the death of Logan.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I read it. I got it. Not bad, and I guess
it's fine. It does what it needs to do.
Yeah, at this point, I guess you did need to take Wolverine off the board. He's been there for so long. Give some room to bring in X-23 and some other characters. Give them room to breathe. So I get it. But yeah, like, what can I say when you kill one of my favorite characters off? And yeah, what can I say? So I think that's pretty much it. I think we covered most of the whole history. Like I said, we skipped over. Like I said, that
a lot.
Yeah, Origins, not Origin 2, but the Wolverine. I think it's what Wolverine Origin stuff that goes through him with his memories with Romulus and Dakin. And stuff. Yeah, look, man, I tried. I
told you.
I tried. It over explains too much, and it just
feels like a 14-year-old's fanfic.
Yeah, it just I couldn't get with it.
For those who don't know, we're just going to do a quick here so people don't just take our word for it. They end up tying Wolverine to an ancient lichen tribe, an offshoot of humanity, so he's not actually evolved from
humans,
apes like the rest of us. He's not actually human or mutant. He's some sort of third subspecies. His people are destined to fight with the bear people, Sabertooth people, and Romulus is pulling the strings. And if that sounds ridiculous, you're right. Excuse me, you're right, it does, because it is.
Yeah. A child he had with another woman who, comes back, Dakin. I think the only thing that was interesting to me with Dakin was going back into Uncanny X-Force and Wolverine being forced to kill him.
I love all the Dakin stuff, if only because Wolverine is so regretful the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
You see that father figure thing. It comes through truest there because it's the opportunity. Because we see him do it so many times of effectively being a surrogate father, that to watch him never get opportunity because he didn't know his son lived.
Right.
And watching him see the sociopath his son turned into was truly heartbreaking, which explains even further why he was so invested in X-23 Laura Kinney when he discovered her existence, and has continued to be, up until his death, a positive force in her life.
Right. And Uncanny X-Force ends with him killing his son, and you find out that Sabertooth set it all up because Sabertooth is literally a dick. Like, good God. Yeah. So, all right. So let's get into some other stuff. So we'll get into some associations, and then we'll get some enemies, and then we should be wrapping this up then because, like you said, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Associates. Let's go to the lovers list. Rose O'Hara. That's from their first origin, so you can kind of skip that. Silver Fox, which plays into Sabertooth stuff later on. Itsu, I believe that is Dakin's mom, right?
No.
Who's Dakin's mom? That was. Hold on. Which one? So you going like it's Mariko Yoshida. We had Viper, Melita Gardner. That was a new one. That was the latest girlfriend, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed one thing on here. Outside of Jean Grey, most of these are not white women. Good for you.
Dakin's mother was named Itsu.
Yeah, Itsu. So that's what's up. Yes. Yeah, so
and
Itsu.
She was murdered by, drumroll please, the Winter Soldier.
The Winter Soldier. Yeah, there we go. Yuriko, Mystique, Storm. Yeah, he's got a lot. And then obviously there's the only one that's never really been reciprocated, other than outside of except for in Age of Apocalypse, you have Jean Grey. So. Which that's another reason why I like Age of Apocalypse. Like you get to see Jean Grey and Logan together, and I thought that was nice to see. And then that comes back to play in Uncanny X-Force when Age of Apocalypse comes back in, and Wolverine is the new Apocalypse in Age of Apocalypse. Yeah. Some mentees. You have Kitty Pryde Jubilee. I like Armor from the. Whedon.
Astonishing Run?
Yeah, the Astonishing Run. That was always, again, Wolverine can help himself. Just, he become, that's just what he is. Also, Evan.
Can I help you? Are you a beer?
Yeah. You have Evan, who was the new Apocalypse stuff, and Wolverine, again, trying to be that figure. I always love the bar scenes with him and Peter for Colossus when it runs into Juggernaut. My other favorite scene is when shortly after he lost his adamantium and he's out in the woods hunting, and Cannonball messes up one of his hunts, so he decides to run to the mansion, get his bike, and Storm's like, "Are you finally in from the woods? You gonna join us?" Like, no, just here for a quick, just here to get my bike. Got to teach a youngster a lesson, and he tries to race Cannonball on his bike. Cannonball beats him, so he takes him. He does what Wolverine does best. Take him to a bar to get drunk. I think Juggernaut had been locked up. He escapes, and what I love about this is, again, it's just that image of Wolverine staying on the bar table, so he can be eye to eye with Juggernaut, and basically tells Juggernaut, "If you mess with the kid, you mess with me." And I'm just like, but there's nothing you can do. Fuck it. All right, we'll go with it. And the favorite moment out of that is Storm showing up later. And Sam and Wolverine and Logan swearing up and down that Juggernaut was there, but Juggernaut has been taken away from somewhere. He's like, "No, we swear he was out here. He was out in the alley. I swear he was here." She's like, "I'm so disappointed in you guys." Yeah. Anybody else who's a good mentee of Wolverine? I think that covers most of the
Jubilee.
Yeah, cover Jubilee. Because
Okay.
Jubilee's there. That's the one. She's becomes the new Kitty Pryde after. He especially he has some good moments with him, especially after he loses his adamantium.
Did we say X-23?
Yes, X-23. I didn't really put her in the mentee, but yes, definitely mentee / I guess you say heir to the throne now.
Yeah, she's the new Wolverine.
Yeah, new Wolverine. So yeah, even down to wearing his costume now. So all right, let's go through.
By the way, whenever we do the X-23 character corners, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I've actually caught up on her new Wolverine one, and it's great.
Really? Yeah, we'll put her in the legacy ones we do. We'll do coming up.
Yeah, that legacy pod. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and let's get this last bit of stuff here, which is gonna be heavy. Let's go through this enemy list.
It is long and varied.
Yes. Like you said, he's got a lot of enemies. They all come from his almost all of them come from his past, for better or worse. I'm gonna start with let's start with Lady Deathstrike and the Reavers.
Yep.
You have Alpha Flight 33, 34. One of my favorite reads I like is when Deathstrike and the Reavers show up is Uncanny X-Men 205. He's there with one of the Power Pack kids, and they it's literally just Wolverine against the Lady Deathstrike and the Reavers, and it's done really well. We covered Lord Shingen and Silver Samurai before. Omega Red, I talked about this. X-Men number 5. First, one of the X-Men books I was able to try to convince my mom to buy. The rest of them I had to kind of sneak. Omega Red.
Yeah.
And again, this is another one.
You're tied to the mystery pass thing.
Yeah, I'm about to say, yeah, this is another one where you read it, it's like, wait, so there was a team and there was Wolverine and Sabertooth were on a team together? What? Yeah, the mystery of his past lets you do so many of these different things and add these in there. So that's a good one. Cyber.
Cyber, I think it's when he's used properly is the best.
Right.
I like the fact I think he was kind of overexposed in the 90s, but they definitely rolled him back some. So every time I see him now, I do get excited to see his name in a book.
Yeah, I think his first appearance is the Marvel Presents, where he's literally tracking down Wolverine and he's whooping Wolverine and just becoming a problem for Wolverine. The only problem with those is like you only get 9 issues and you gotta. It takes 10 issues to read the full fucking story because you only get 9 pages each an issue of the Wolverine story. But yeah, he's credited as being the only enemy of Wolverine that Wolverine actually fears.
Yep.
And yeah, let's see. I'll throw in the Hulk there just because of their,
they got a pass.
They got a pass. Incredible Hulk 340. It's a good one. Not going to talk about the old man Logan shit. Fuck that. We kind of mentioned Dakin and Romulus, so I'm going to skip over them. And let's get the Mystique. I just read the Get Mystique issues.
Oh, isn't that great?
Wolverine Volume 3, 62 to 65. Listen.
Who wrote that? Is that Aaron?
I think that's Jason Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I realized that Volume 3 of Wolverine actually had Jason Aaron writing, I was like, I need to start reading more of these. I need to wait.
And, the Get Mystique stuff is so good because it's written like a movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is.
You could see that being a movie.
Yeah. You basically get Mystique has betrayed the X-Men after the Messiah Complex, and Cyclops tells Wolverine, "You got to go after her, not just go after her to bring. You got to go after her and kill her. That's what you're tasked to do."
Which leads to the scene later, which you already read. Thought you killed this woman. I thought I did.
Yeah, because basically what Wolverine does is he stabs her. And then leaves her to die in the middle of the desert with a gun, and says, "Hey, I have friends to call." It comes down to, and I love the story. It's basically like, Mystique is like, "You're saying you're mad at me. Why this time? I've betrayed the X-Men before. Why are you coming after me this time? Like, just because they're stupid enough to believe me all the time. You know better. Why this time?" And Mystique is on some basically. Hey, we've done this before. You're just like me. And Wolverine ends up saying, "I'm nothing like you because at the end of the day, I can go and call my friends to come pick me up. You have nobody. You have a gun out here. At some point you're going to use it on yourself because you got nothing." Obviously, that didn't happen because she's still alive. But right. It's a really good story. And you also get a backstory on when they first met. And goes in there. And Wolverine betraying her because she was gonna have them rob a bank and stuff like. So it's like it's a really good story, and I really enjoyed that. And I always love seeing their interactions. Like there's a Sabertooth miniseries that I actually bought like years ago when I was little, And Wolverine and Mystique are on a date then, and Sabertooth shows up, and that's always interesting.
Yeah.
That's so, yeah, you know. And
because Mystique and Sabertooth had a kid together.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Very, very, leads to some very interesting moments there. But again, the number one person, and again, we'll put all these issues in there. You can read them. We can talk more about this, but I don't want to keep. Again, each of these can almost be their own. Like we might have to have a separate character corner on just Wolverine enemies. Yeah, and we'll go back into the.
It'll be just us trading Sabertooth stories.
Yeah, because I mean, and that's what I'm kind of rushing to, Sabertooth.
And I know it's kind of chic to do the this character is an opposite number of the hero, like Wolverine, like Spider-Man and Venom, or Superman and Zod. Mm-hmm. It's easy to say, we'll just make the mirror image of it. Sabertooth got his start as an Iron Fist villain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And was retconned in this Wolverine's backstory. And I think this is a great example of it being less a mirror unto yourself, is like, there for the grace of God go I. Mm-hmm. Because there's so many parallels. It's not just like, this is me as a bad person. It's like, oh, that was almost me. I think that's the scariest part about Sabertooth, is that the ferocity and the passion with which he fights is the exact same as Logan's, but Logan has that twist of honor in him.
Yeah. Sabertooth likes it.
Loves it.
Wolverine doesn't. That's the
Every
difference.
Day. Can we talk about his birthday?
Oh, listen. So, look, man. Wolverine number 10. Wolverine number 10 retells Wolverine's first Wolverine Sabertooth fight. And it basically is that ever since Wolverine killed, Sabertooth killed Silver Fox on his birthday, on every birthday, Sabertooth tracks down Wolverine and tries to whoop his ass on his birthday. Like, and then leaves. Like, that is the thing. What makes it even better, though, and this is why I actually liked Gillian's origin too. You by the end of that issue, you find out why. Mm-hmm. Because you find out the creeds, and you find out Victor shows up to talk to his little sister Claire. Where's the runt hiding, Claire? I bought him his birthday present. You're a damn sadist. Get away from me. No need to speak to me like that. I never hurt you. The boy's the only one who ever hurt you. You know why? What you did every birthday after you killed Mom and Pop, and once you gave him another choice, do it to me. Doing it hurt him as much as it did me. This is Claire talking about their other brother. And you know why? That's why you did it. But there's no more birthday presents for Saul. He's somewhere you can't hurt him. Your little brother is dead, Victor. And that's when Victor goes, oh, well, okay. Guess I got to go find somebody else to do this to. So you find out that Sabertooth used to do this to his own family, every birthday. Now, he's got to find somebody else. You even get why he calls Wolverine Runt. Like, it added more to that Wolverine number 10 from all those years ago. It fit in so perfectly. I'm like, oh my God, this guy is so fucking evil. Like, Victor is, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is, it's just, like you said, more than just being the mirror image, he is what Wolverine doesn't want to become. And yet Sabertooth was like, yeah. And Sabertooth never figure out why people will try to choose Wolverine over him. And because he's like, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm faster, but he loves bringing that animal out of
Wolverine. It's proving that we're the same.
Yeah, he loves
you act all high and mighty. Every year I get to prove that you and I are the same.
Mm-hmm. And it is, with Mutant Massacre with I think what is it? Is it 213 when there's a fight with there's another fight with Wolverine and Sabertooth. I can't remember which one it is.
There are a lot.
There are a lot, and there are a lot of good ones. I mean, these are the fights that are just knock down, drag out. Neither one of them can really kill the other. I mean, and even when you think there is, I mean, I guess this goes back into that orange stuff where Wolverine finally gets a blade that can neutralize Sabertooth's healing factor, and he decapitates him. Then you find out that was a clone of Sabertooth.
Because why not?
Yeah, because why take the best piece off the board, right?
Yeah.
So, but no, like Sabertooth, it's just there's so much there, And I love reading that because no matter what, and I love that anytime that Sabertooth is brought into the X-Men, Wolverine's always going, you guys know this is a bad idea, right? You know this is a bad idea. Like, just, it's not going to work. It's going to betray you guys. Just going to try to kill you guys.
I mean, it's going to become my problem.
It's going to become my problem.
You have to clean this up. It's going to be me.
That I will solve. You know?
Yep.
I just, yeah. I really, really fucking love. Again, you could do so many good Wolverine and Sabertooth stories, but they really haven't. So
they've chosen not to in any other medium.
All right, so are we ready to get to other medium? Are there any other enemies I didn't list out that, you know? Again,
you got all the major ones. Nuke's a problem.
Yeah, Nuke's there. Yeah, he's
another graduate of the Weapon Plus program.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the Hand.
Yeah,
obviously, we got that. Should have mentioned them. You get them in the first Claremont miniseries. Yeah, I think those are the big ones.
I think we covered all those.
So, all right, let's move into other medium. Again, we're cramming a lot.
Let's start with the 90s cartoon. No, let's start with the 70s or 80s cartoon, Pride of the X-Men. Pride of the X-Men is possibly the greatest cartoon ever made because for some reason Wolverine is Australian. Like, very Australian. It was meant to be a pilot for a series that never happened, but did inspire the, for my money, greatest six-person arcade game of all time, Pride of the X-Men, and the side-scrollers. Mm-hmm. He also appeared in the 90s X-Men comic, or X-Men cartoon, that a lot of people remember.
Morph!
Morph did die. X-Men don't cut and run. X-Men stay and fight, or so I've been told. It's really well done there, too, because at one point they even take in Sabertooth, and he's like, this is going to end really poorly.
He tries to tell you. Come on.
He's been very consistent in his anti-Sabertooth stance, which I can applaud and appreciate. Wolverine appeared in Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers series that ran prior to the one that's running right now.
Which, again, I'm very sad that they took that off because it was an amazing show. Yeah.
It was such a good show. It felt like you were watching the Avengers. It was, yeah, well, without getting too frustrated about it, he also was involved with, there was a self-titled animated series called Wolverine and the X-Men, which if it got in season 2 would have gotten us to Age of Apocalypse, which seemed pretty interesting from all the images and synopses that did leak out before the cancellation. He was also the feature, as you mentioned, in a couple of direct-to-DVD or direct-to-streaming movies, animated movies that came out, Wolverine versus series. I think we had Wolverine versus the Hulk, Wolverine versus Deadpool, Wolverine. There was a Thor versus Hulk, I think. Mm-hmm. A couple more. They're all pretty good. They're all standalones. They didn't really tie to anything. He also I kept forgetting, he makes an appearance in the very first episode of Earth's Mightiest Heroes when Captain America is sneaking behind enemy lines, and one of his crew members is definitely James Howlett. Mm-hmm. He also appears, I guess we'll have to do this now, don't we? Damn it. He appears in the live-action Marvel or Fox X-Men movies. He's portrayed as a tall, not that gruff Canadian who has one beer in like three movies, no cigars.
No, in the first, here's the thing. In the first X-Men film, I think you get the best Wolverine you get out of all of them.
It's the closest you're going to get ever to Wolverine, and then they decided that let's just do the whole thing about him and change the character altogether.
After that, it gets out.
X2 is fine. It's a good movie. Wolverine is a strangely like prescient plot point because it's kind of tied to his past. X3 is an absolute war crime. Mm-hmm. It was. He has a great cameo in X-Men First Class.
Right.
Like that's
the second best.
Perfect Wolverine.
That's the second. You know what? Because it's at the bar.
It's at the bar.
It's at a bar.
They're asking him to help, and he's telling them
no
in words of a single syllable. Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He then appears in X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is again like if Last Stand's a war crime. I don't even know what to call this. Like,
genocide.
It's so bad.
Yeah,
there's an
although the best Sabertooth we've ever gotten, and not that it's high. But
yeah, it's a low bar to clear, but yeah, I guess it clears it. Yeah. He also in that movie gets shot with an adamantium bullet, which is amazing.
It comes back.
Because there's so little adamantium that we can barely make Lady Deathstrike and barely make your skeleton, but we've got an entire clip of adamantium bullets. Sure, why not?
It comes back in Logan too, so there's that.
Of course it does. He then appears in X-Men Days of Future Past, making zero sense because there's no bad guy in that movie except for the ongoing crunch of time. And then he lastly appeared in what is being called a Johnny Cash song taking over 2 hours, I think, in Logan, which has been reviewed by the MTR Network. Is your audio review up yet, or will it be up by the time it's posted?
It'll be next week. No, probably not.
Okay, so the written review is already up.
Yeah.
The audio review is forthcoming, and you guys can all see it or not see it next week when it comes out. There are other versions of Wolverine running around the X-Men universe.
That, can we just? I just want to say something that drives me crazy about the live action version too.
Go ahead.
I hate the way his claws work.
On which one?
I hate that they come through his knuckles like that. They should be coming out of the back of it. I know it's a small thing.
It is a small thing,
but it drives me fucking insane.
Why?
Because they shouldn't be coming out like that.
They both make sense though.
They should come out of the back of his hands.
For me, I've come to. They both make sense to me. I've moved on past that.
I know. It shouldn't be
with the Fox X-Men debauchery.
I know. Anyway, carry on.
Other versions of Wolverine inside the comic books. Obviously, we talked about Laura Kinney, X-23, the new Wolverine. She's going to be running around the phased out X-Men books. Although there's going to be 11 on the stands, you assholes. Also, they brought back Old Man Logan from Secret Wars. His book is written by Jeff Lemire, and it's exceptional.
Yeah, I heard it's pretty good.
It's really good. I would recommend everybody read it. He's also going to be starring in the new Weapon X book, which is going to have a couple of survivors of Weapon X, including Sabertooth and Mystique. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And he's also, I think, in X-Men Gold or Blue. He's in one of the two team books. And they're going to be keeping on his Old Man Logan book. Let's see, what other big versions? There's Albert and LCD, which is just stupid and funny. But I don't know if I'm talking about it. And that's basically the big Wolverine, like the ones that you're going to be on the shelves most of the time.
I never.
No longer. Yeah. Go ahead.
How were the Ultimate? Because they.
Let's talk about Ultimate. Yeah. Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Wolverine was weird.
Yeah.
He's without screw it. Spoilers. He's basically the first mutant because they reveal in Ultimatum that mutants are man-made. And while there are some cool stories and cool moments with Wolverine in Mark Millar's first run of Ultimate X-Men, it's nothing groundbreaking, nothing too noteworthy. He infiltrates the X-Men as an assassin trying to kill Xavier. He ends up actually dropping Cyclops into a cliff, off of a cliff. He's a fun character, but then eventually, as the Ultimate books tended to do, they begin writing him like 616 Wolverine. And it gets a little more convoluted, but it ends up paying off. It's not bad. The Hulk rips him in half during the Hulk vs. Wolverine miniseries that took literally 4 years to finish. What else? That is basically the Ultimate stuff. He had a kid. He's killed in Ultimatum issue 6, but he has a child named Jimmy Hudson who becomes the new Wolverine, a blonde Wolverine. It feels very weird for the next run of Ultimate titles, but the Ultimate Universe has been erased. So this is what we got left.
There we go. He's always near the top of ranked lists for best comic book characters of all time. I think IGN ranked him fourth in the top 100, and Empire and they also named.
Did we talk about? Oh, I'm sorry. Did we talk about how he died?
Not really. No. He's just definitely Wolverine. This is why I'm like, is he really dead?
Yo, he got suffocated in adamantium.
Right.
He's dead.
Okay.
I think the reason that this is one of the ones where I said, dead's going to mean dead, is because they've brought in such a good tapestry around him to support the franchise, if you will. Mm-hmm. Between Laura and Old Man Logan, you've got two Wolverines now somehow running around after killing the one. But I think that it's good. I think they're gonna keep him dead, man.
Okay.
I hope so.
Keep him dead like Gene.
Well, the thing is, they kept our Gene dead and then brought back Gene from the past.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like
Wolverine dead, Wolverine from the future. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean maybe. So Hey, if it works, it works. Like I said, there's enough here that the character, even if you don't like them killing him off, there's enough here that you can love.
Axel Alonso yesterday tweeted out an image called Batch H, which is it looks like, I don't know if you've seen this yet.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm going to send it to you while I describe it to the listeners. It is two scientists looking at a test tube that holds something called Batch H. It looks like a Hulk type figure with 3 Wolverine claws.
Oh, I've seen that. Okay. Yeah.
I say the name, Marvel.
Yeah, don't do that.
I say the name.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I mean,
no one asked for this.
Okay. I don't know what this. Okay, we'll see what happens. This is like something that Fox would do. So I don't know, yo. I don't know. I saw that too, and I hit that. I don't know about this one, son.
But that's one of the things about Marvel's success in movies is that they're able to take chances in comics. Some chances you shouldn't take.
Yeah. Look. I defend Marvel when I can. This is one of those ones. You're on your own, buddies. You're on your own.
I'll defend them to the death, man. I'll rock with them. Just I don't have to agree with everything you do.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Oh man. So we did it, man.
I'm gonna take a nap.
Yeah, that was a lot. Again, we skipped over a lot, but we'll put a lot of these things in there. There's a lot of good stuff here to read. You'll find a lot of the writers that you want to hear from: Jason Aaron, Brian K. Vaughan, Warren Ellis, Kieran Gillen. They've all taken shots at Wolverine, and you again. There's some bad stuff out there, definitely.
Sheer volume, there's going to be bad stuff.
Huh? You said what?
Sheer volume, there's going to be bad stuff.
Yeah, it's got to be. But there's a lot of good stuff out there to check out and read. And yeah, I think we did our man justice, and we got a lot in there. And again, don't be surprised if we come back later on because we rush through the enemies. I'll come back later on and we'll really get in there because there's so much stuff that you can deal with Lady Deathstrike and the Reavers. There's stuff you can do with Omega Red, with Mystique, Sabertooth. There's so much. We'll do a Wolverine Rogue show. All right, Rogue Gallery show. We'll do that. So we'll come back and visit that sometime later on this year. But the next show we're doing is Iron Fist and Colleen Wing. So stay tuned for that one, and then we'll finish up with our Green Lantern ones shortly after that. So again, everyone, thank you guys very much for listening and taking with us this long episode. And man, you got anything else you want to say?
No. I'm glad that Logan happened so that certain people can walk away from the role. I think that he did the best he could with what he was given. I think he genuinely did care about the role but didn't understand the character.
Absolutely.
I think he did care. I think he cared in a way that wasn't appealing to me, which is fine, but I want to commend Jackman for caring and wanting to do a good job.
Here's the thing.
But
the Wolverine we got in X1 is the closest one because that's also the one where he snuck Wolverine comic books onto the set.
Right.
So, while I don't like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, I give him credit for doing the best he could with what he was given. So
100%, and I think it's going to be good to clear the decks and hopefully get maybe someone in here who can at least at the helm of the Marvel X-Men run can tell us definitively who Wolverine is and to say that he's not a jeans model who's 6'3" and occasionally talks like this.
Right. Talks like Batman.
Batman.
All right, folks, guys. Thank you guys very much for listening to this Character Corner. We love you guys. Leave us a 5-star review on Character Corner feeds on iTunes. Stitcher. We'll leave it on iTunes. We'll read it there. You can listen to us on Stitcher if you want to, if you have to. And, or send us an email at mtrailerreviews@movietrailerreviews.net, and we'll get out there. So, guys, thank you guys very much for listening. D-Pump, thank you for joining me on this long-ass show. And until next time, folks, we are out of here. Peace.